Hello, everyone. I am Cartoon Kitsune, and welcome back to yet another Toonkind at 12 FPS. Today, I will be playing as Minty, the rabbit, and local emotional support plushie, therapist, all that good stuff. I haven't played her in a while, so it's nice to be doing her voice again. And I am joined by the other lovely players. If you'd like to introduce yourselves from top to bottom, you and your characters.
Hello, I am Oatmeal, and I will be playing the professor, as per usual. Um, yeah.
uh, who we all know and love. Um, hey there, I am Morski, also known as Morskish, and I am playing my lovely lady detective Moria. Uh, she is a moral support detective today, so here we go.
We love to see it.
Hi everyone, it's me, Vwild, as always on the bullshit, and I am playing Detective Little Stagehand at your service.
Hey. And we've got quite the crew here today. We got at least one person who doesn't typically hang out with these people, but we're having our little crossover episode today. So, quick bit of background for those listening in. So, a while back, around the time of Animus, in fact, there was a certain late episode of a late night talk show, and the way that particular talk show works is it kind of sort of kidnaps its audience. So, it'll just pull in people from all over the place. And all four of these folks, I do believe, happen to be in the audience during said talk show. And while they were in the audience,
It was
they tried.
very festive.
Yeah, very festive. Yeah. So they were all in the audience, and they kind of traded back a bit of their contact information and whatnot while they were watching the interview of a certain very malevolent puppet man known as Mr. M, or Mr. Misery, if you want to do the full name. And needless to say, all these folks have one way or another been caught up in all his various schemes and whatnot, or encountered this man, um, or heard of this guy. And basically, they all, at some point after the interview, when they were all shunted back to their places of origin, at some point they all presumably contacted each other and were like, hey, let's meet up and compare notes and all that. Which brings us to today, where everybody is meeting over in Moria's office.
You know, safe enough place. Uh, at least half of the people here tend to be there a lot.
Hmm.
And this is kind of a trade of information here. So, Moria's at the office. She's kind of, well, I say she's got the place prepared. It's generally prepared for visitors. So either she is making tea or she's got her good buddy making the tea. Would Prof be bullied into making tea? What do you say, Oatmeal?
You wouldn't need to bully him into it. He's going to make tea.
Cool.
That's
Then,
probably why he's. That's probably partially why he's in a decent mood.
eh, so yeah, Mori's sitting down and probably like bickering or chatting with Prof as they wait for the other two to come.
Yeah, and out of
I just,
curiosity, Viva, do you want to have Lynn come in first, or should we have Minty come in first? I'm cool either way, so.
I kind of want to say second, just because Lynn's going to clock two people she knows and one she don't, and have stupid questions.
All right, I'll do a little something for Minty's entrance. So,
Don't die.
yeah, excuse me, guys. I
Don't
have a
choke on
bit of a
us.
cough. No, it's
That's
fine. I
okay.
have a bit of a lingering cough, so hopefully it won't be too
Oh,
much of an
it's all
issue.
good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just need to remember to mute whenever that happens. Anyways, so I did roll a little survival just out of curiosity to see if Minty's able to navigate Town because she's only been here a couple times so far, but nowadays she's visited enough that like she can at least like figure out a map to find out where the detective agency is, so she gets there easily enough. And so um I think what happens is like the door opens and you guys see this like long shadow cast on the floor, and you look through the doorway and silhouetted like the light behind her, there's this like mysterious hooded figure, and you can only see like the eyes kind of gleaming under the hood. And there's like this moment where it's like, oh, it's like very intimidating, and then she pulls the hood off, and these big floppy rabbit ears pop out of the hood, and she's just like, hi there. Is this the right place? This is Moria's detective agency, isn't it?
Yes, welcome to my office. Like, a beat, Moria kind of gestures with a hand towards the couch from where she sat and is sipping her tea. Feel free to take a sit. Minty,
Oh,
right?
yep. Nice to see you again, Detective Moria. And she'll skip on
Good
inside
to
and
see
shut
you
the door behind
too.
her.
I love her.
Your uh Tobias's contact, is that right?
Yep, that's correct. My name's Minty. It's nice to meet you. I don't think I got your name when we were at the interview. What was it?
I'm the professor.
Oh, nice to meet you, Mr. Professor. And she'll hold out a little paw to shake.
Mhm. Professor Will.
It is incredibly
Sorry.
soft.
You have had a little bit of roboting. It's been like
Oh no.
it's
I'll
it's
make it up to you, man.
understandable, but just.
Yeah, no, thanks for letting me know.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know my
Mhm.
connection can be a bit
Yeah.
wonky, so hopefully I can get around that.
Ah, F.
Yeah, I'll let you know if anything's completely garbled.
Gotcha, thanks. I think Minty
Yeah,
probably notices Prof's scarf and is like, "Oh, that's such a nice scarf."
Oh, thank you.
I
Ow.
think while this is happening, Moria's just gonna, like, casually pull over one of the cups of tea and some snacks, slides them over.
Oh, golly, thank you. Oh, actually, that reminds me. And I'm gonna roll hammer space for this.
Oh? That was in
See.
character, by the way.
Yep,
Hmm.
or that'll work. Yee. So yeah, she will pull out a box that has it's one of those little bit like paper bakery boxes, and I think it's probably got like cookies or donuts or something in there, some kind of like pastry.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, I'm gonna say for the sake of this that I'm guessing Pam's bakery would probably have like some kind of like little logo on it, right?
I imagine Starbs isn't here right now, but
Yeah, I think it's probably safe to assume there'd be like some kind of like usually bakeries have like some kind of little logo.
Label.
Yeah. But yeah, I think she'll probably plop that down on the table and be like, I was gonna make something myself, but I didn't really have time for it. So, but instead, I got these from this bakery I've been to a couple times before. They've got really good stuff there.
okay.
Oh,
Thank you.
Hmm. So, is this everybody who's gonna meet for this, or are we waiting on anybody else?
we're
Lynn said she wished to come over, so we're just waiting on her.
I
Do
think
you,
there is no better.
do you think now is a good time for your own lovely, monkey to come over?
Yes. Also, I love her. I rolled her die for the day. Jesus fucking Christ,
Oh
Lynn.
dang!
Oh
was
Wow.
my
that bad or good?
Lynn! That's bad.
Oh no, I
The
Ooh,
hope not.
no.
closer to 100. Yeah, the closer to 100 it is, the worse it gets. She hasn't had this high in a while.
Oh no,
Ooh,
honey, no.
That's at advantage too, by the way,
Oh
so
Yeah,
ooh,
that's an advantage.
oh
So
man.
yikes.
she's so what you guys do notice is like Moria, there could have been no better fucking timing of you doing that because your door suddenly just like outlines in orange just the briefest. The only reason I'm giving you that is because I know your perception is dang high.
Yeah, it's an 18. It's not the highest in
Mhm.
the office, but like, Moria is a detective.
Mhm.
Yeah, whose is the highest in the office right now, Prof?
Oh no.
Presuming. Or in the office right now,
Yeah, no. Professor's perception is a very nice mediocre +4.
Yeah, Minty's mod is it's actually a +7 for the mod, and her passive is a 17.
so
So yeah,
Moria's got the highest passive right
Mhm.
now.
indeed makes sense.
Detectives, man.
And I mean, Lynn's is what? What is your passive again, Lynn?
Didn't you make it
22.
something stupid? Yeah,
It's
there you
22.
go.
So
Yeah.
you do just have the door open, looking. It's not outside. Expecting. It is this very much more autumnal setting location. Just very much, no matter whether it's sun shining here or not, it ain't there. It's a wonderful place. It's the town we call home. It ain't exactly sunshine and rainbows.
Oh, I
Yeah, that'd be just
imagine
where
Lynn.
Minty's from.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Lynn has paid visits before.
Yeah. So Moria knows what this is. She hasn't said what this is. She's letting the others enjoy the surprise.
Yeah.
Minty's just like, ooh,
And
magic door.
and coming in through said magical door, leaning on her cane, but whether they'll actually be able to figure that out or not, because Jester's a deception mod. But
Roll
there
your
is a
deception,
3.
Pecker.
All right.
I hold
There is
Minty's
a 3
insight.
foot 6. Okay. That is going to be a 28.
Okay, let's see. 30 for Minty. That's a 19 on the die.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. So you do see the person who is coming in kind of has that look of forcing themselves to go at speed to not be late to something, and consequently leaning on their cane quite hard. This person does seem to have something up with them. But this 3'6" monkey in the detective's tire, the detective stagehand just goes, Moria, apologies for the delay.
It's all good. You holding up okay there?
Decent as always.
Meanwhile,
Moria
Minty
will
looks,
like
oh, there you go.
Moria will kick out the chair for her to take it. It's one of the soft ones.
Aw.
Mm-hmm.
I think Minty looking
She,
very concerned will kind of go over and be like, "Oh golly, do you need help? Any help getting over to the chair, miss?"
um, no, detective. That's honorific pronoun. I don't know. Yeah, but
Sorry,
no,
detective.
indeed, and it's quite alright, quite alright. And she just kind of has a, but like, I'm gonna give you with that insight. She's kind of having a blink moment, and then she does just very subtly, just like with her hand, point at like it is one of the subtle points, and just cast message like in quick succession at Moria, and Professor just goes, "Who's the bunny?"
Tobias' friend.
Yes, you remember that interview some of us were dragged onto. We met Minty there. She knows some things about him.
Brilliant. We don't have to fight. Great.
Please don't fight the fluffy bunny.
I mean, now I'm kind of taking that as a challenge. She is still casting this as a message, by the way.
Yeah, I'm having
Minty's
Consider
just
the
like
Lynn.
Minty's just like sitting off to the side, like sipping on some tea. Actually, she probably would have like grabbed a cup of tea and like brought it over to Lind, so she doesn't have to go and get it.
Okay, I am really sorry, but you are cutting
Oh
off a bad here. I
no!
didn't hear most of that.
Oh gosh.
brought a cup of tea and
Yeah, Minty would have gotten a cup of tea for Lynn, so she doesn't have to like go over and get it herself.
And
I will say what Moria says in response to that is, sure you could, but imagine the emotional damage.
Damn, you've actually got me there. Got it.
Moria is smiling behind her cup. Prof and Lynn are both getting this.
But she does take the seat, and she is going to take the beverage.
Mhm.
She is probably going to put one of her umbrellas in it just as a paranoia check because I just read this monkey today. But she does just go, "Oh, by the way, space picnic. Lovely to see you."
Don't call me that.
All right.
Oh, you two met before, Prof?
Yes. Remember when I went to University City? The that one. I came back and there was. It was, yeah. She was
Also the player just asked for a little bit of context here.
Yeah, no, this is
It
the
was
one.
hell.
Yeah, this is the one or like it didn't happen on screen, but like off
Yeah.
screen, Professor came back from a case. Okay, I
Oh,
talked
is
to
this?
people. I need a hug and a hot drink. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Then I
he was
think,
kind of a mess.
yeah. No, I remember you. I remember you mentioning that Moria would have been there for him too.
Yeah.
No, yeah. With that, there's just and a nod. So she doesn't have context, but she knows it was bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with Minty's passive insight, she can probably pick up on whatever this thing they're talking about is probably not that great and probably something they don't want to talk about in detail. So she is not going to ask any questions about that.
We
She is staying in
appreciate
her
you,
lane.
Minty. Good for her, honestly. I say affectionately, looking at the detectives and professor in this room.
Yep.
You know
I
she's not an
also
AI character normally.
I also happened to meet her in Tinkerton.
Oh,
I
okay.
went to check it out, and she happened to be checking it out at the same time.
All right.
Hey, it was real good working with you, even if the circumstances could have been better.
Mm.
Right, I was gonna say that got. I'm pretty sure that got mentioned during the interview, right? That's where his name was Milo. That's where he was from.
Yes.
Right. Mm, well, since we're all here,
Right.
yeah. Do we want to start the I guess the reason why we're all here. Maybe you guys ought to go first. Since you brought it up.
Right. Well,
I suppose first things first, because I don't think there has been total introductions yet. Let's start with introductions and what we're talking about. So
Oh, right, of
I
course.
do believe
For our
everyone
manners.
I do believe everyone here already knows, but I am Moria.
mhm. I am the professor. I know Moria. I've met Lynn. Minty, you're new.
Right, I guess I should do proper introduction then. Well, like I mentioned earlier, before Detective Lynn got here, my name is Minty. I work over at Dodo Studios. I am acquainted with Tobias. We're friends, and I also work as his therapist. I'm kind of the studio therapist over there. That's where,
Hmm.
well, I got a bit of my information because a couple of my patients are, well, related to this whole case, but I'll probably get more into that later when I see my piece.
Yeah, therapist. Very interesting profession here in Inkwell. I know we're quite elusive.
Yeah, well,
Ah, but
they we're certainly need one over at the over the studio, given well, a lot of the stuff that was happening there. A lot of it due in part to Mr. M and his business partner, whatever that scary clown jester fella is. It's kind of been kind of a mess from what I've heard. She kind of sweat drops at this. Yeah,
Mm,
I think that's another thing. You get the impression that there's a lot more to that she's not mentioning, but whatever it is, it's not very good.
Mm.
fair and valid.
Hmm.
Yeah, let's not dabble into the Yakuza stuff. Well, might get a brief mention, but yeah, that's its own entire can of very, very, very large worms. Throw it in the
Mm.
Mississippi.
Yeah, there was that whole thing that happened
Oh,
recently, but one thing at a time. You still haven't done your introduction, and she'll just over at Lynn.
indeed. And she does like tip the hat at that. Just go, Detective Lynn Stagehand. Already acquainted with two of you. Lovely to meet you, Minty.
It's very nice to meet all of you too. Sure, we
Mm,
can't be under well better circumstances, but it's still always nice to make new friends.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Truth in that. Right. So, well, we were all there at the interview, so at least we got that point. We've got the information therein. From
Right.
there, do you want to go first, Prof, or should I?
Might as well start at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know that Mr. Misery used to be a warforged named Milo Wood. He was real kind, as a matter of fact. That's we have a theory about how that changed.
Mm-hmm.
But in any
Well then.
case, I met him about 30 years ago. He was about 5 years old then. Adult for a warforged, but just inexperienced.
Mm-hmm.
He pretty much saved my life. I got in a bad scrap, and he found me. And trying to reconnect, trying to figure out where the other people I had been with before I got knocked out had gone, or, well, waiting for them. Well, I stayed put. Um, while I was doing that, I joined Milo in uh, a few small cases related to the sort of an adventurers guild called the Clockwork Eye. Um, they just sort of did odd jobs, anything that the law wasn't going to handle. Um, he was a bright young person, sharp, a bit obviously new to like I said, he'd only had 5 years, but he was just really sweet and selfless and a very skilled. He got quite good at sort of investigative work. He seemed to have, despite not being a formal detective, he did seem to have a bit of an interest in that sort of work.
Okay.
Eventually, I met his friends, and I met his cousin, Pam, and eventually, the people I had been traveling with caught up, found me, and we left and continued traveling. Able to keep in contact with. So the interview came as a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I was gonna.
That was my experience.
Hmm.
I went back and discovered more of what happened after the time that I was there.
I think Minty kind of nods and says, "Yeah, I get what you mean, but well, kind of in the opposite direction, I suppose. I only had heard of him, well, after his the way he currently is. Golly, it's still hard to believe that he was so different back then. Makes me wonder what could have caused him to change like that."
We have an idea.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Nothing
By
better
the
to
way,
him.
can Moria real quick do an insight on Prof 2 vibe check? Cause
Sure, go ahead. The DC won't be very high.
I
yeah.
admit, Lynn's also been looking in the. I know who this is to you. I know this
Yeah,
context.
I think Minty's gonna
Dang,
insight as well. Just
Yeah.
That's
Jesus Christ, we're all inciting the guy.
that's a
Hey.
low roll, but well, it's still a 17.
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
19 for Minty. So
Yeah. And it was going to be lower for
That's
Moria because she knows him.
Oh,
makes
heck
sense.
yeah.
Jesus Louise.
Friendship
Hang on a minute.
bonus.
I'm just.
Mm-mm.
I think that's a dirty 20.
Oh wow. Okay.
Alright, we all
So
concerned.
yeah, it kind of works out that you all three get the same stuff because even though Moria rolled lower, she knows him better, so I was going to lower the DC there.
Nice.
You guys, it would have
Hey.
taken more, but you rolled more, so you also are good. He's he's being very factual and just sort of giving the giving the details as they are. But there's a sort of there's a bit of a guardedness, a bit of a maybe defensiveness. He really cared for this individual and still does. And he is kind of trying, because he knows that the other people don't know him like that, he's trying to just sort of make sure that they do and they understand, because he doesn't want them to treat him just like this villain, because he knows better.
Yeah, yeah. No, Moria's noting that down. The way I'm imagining this is Minty's on the sofa. The other three are on chairs around that. But I like to think Prof and Moria are sitting next to each other. So
Mm,
very quietly or very discreetly, she's just gonna lean against his arm a bit.
hmm Yeah.
I think Minty's kind of quiet and thoughtful for a moment, and then she says, "This may be a little forward of me to ask since we don't know each other that well, but do you need a hug right now, Professor?"
No thanks.
And she nods. Yeah, just figured she'd offer, but again, they don't know each other super well, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he probably leans against Moria a little bit, though.
Oh, fair, yeah.
I think Minty kind of has a small little smile at that. she can see Prof got, somebody to quite literally lean on, so he's good, at
Mhm.
least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want me to take it up from here, Prof?
Perhaps you do seem to have dug up quite a lot on that period.
Aye,
Yes, I will
indeed. And
admit. I will admit most of what I know is from that interview and pieces I've heard from the others, so
mm-hmm.
all the more context would be helpful.
Mhm.
Aye, indeed. All right. Best thing to say is we have, well, not just a probable cause, but a actual cause of what caused him to change.
Mhm.
We were able to uncover his journal on the matters, and talking to people that he used to know at at the place he worked, we've been able to figure out that it's infection, possession. We figured out significantly more than that. You might be better at verbalizing who it is that is causing it all. But Milo Wood went to an auction as part of a case. It was a anonymous tip-off situation, or not so much tip-off as a case he was running for it. He took his cousin Pam with him. There was a lot of investigation into it beforehand. He went in well armed, well aware. Unfortunately, the auction didn't go to plan, and he was severely injured. His eye was severely injured, and a shard of the mirror. Well,
The item he was trying to acquire for this patron was a magical mirror of some sort. We have a drawing. We don't, and he didn't know exactly what its magical purpose was. But it was destroyed in the fray, and as mentioned, he was injured by a piece of it. It didn't seem to, the effects didn't seem to go away with the removal of his destroyed eye. Some magical something seemed to have just taken root in him.
Hmm.
which a similar mirror I've seen nowadays, or a shard, so I understand a little more on that side of things.
Right.
On
I
a
think Tobias might have mentioned something about that too at our last session.
he has it currently? No. He had it originally, then they checked out with a mutual contact. I'll check back in on that front. I believe my partner might have it now.
He does.
Aye.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It's, well, to put it one way, your reflection is your worst self. And some who look into it in a moment of mental wayside can become that form.
Temporarily, wasn't it?
Indeed. But if you've got it in you, well, we found the shard when it was in Aspen. You will remember that one from the interview.
Right, his current warlock.
Yes. Has multiple bodies.
Hmm.
Really now.
Very goopy. Yes, very goopy. was a not my most unpleasant fight, I'm not going to lie.
Mhm.
I mean, it was a party at well, I guess it was, you could consider it a panic at the disco, but it turned out well enough. We dealt with it all.
Oh, so long it's dealt with.
Oh.
Mhm.
Well, going back into sort of past, the journal,
Mhm.
which I think you have it. We can share with the others if they'd like to read.
Aye.
Moria certainly would like to read. The other two
Okay.
will be able to see this on her expression.
Yeah.
Yeah, Minty's
Yeah,
definitely
I'll.
curious.
Okay.
It
Word of warning: it gets dark.
yes.
Ah.
The journal goes through the events of the investigation, the incident, his inability to recover, his going numb, not being able to
Mhm.
feel things any longer. He did have a full range of emotions before, as far as I could tell.
Mhm.
He had a little bit of issue with tactile sensation, but that would be on account of his being a wooden warforged. This was
Mhm.
new. It's upsetting. And, well, when you reach the end of it, he is realizing that something is very wrong with him. He's not acting like himself. And the thing inside, the thing that's there's something there, and it needs to get out, and it needs him for something. He suffered for a while, and the only reprieve was finding out that if he caused others pain, caused others misery, then his own symptoms abated, and he felt
Mhm.
hope. In a moment of clarity before it completely overtook him, he made a note to Pam, should she ever find this journal, that he's sorry and he doesn't want to hurt anybody, but he needs advice because he has tried himself and he couldn't.
He
Yeah.
he also put in effort to ensure that the journal would be safe. That he did what he could to make things as safe as possible, even in the state he was in. He was trying.
And the thing is,
Right.
Minty's kind of like reading through the entries, like her ears kind of like lower very sadly. And she kind of mumbles.
Uh, Well, his actions make a lot more sense now. I mean,
I
Do we know who wanted the mirror originally?
mm,
We don't know. It was some wasn't it some odd uh some word word play
I
with the word anonymous and the
it
name made it.
indeed it was a play on anonymous. It's unfortunately that they're in. It's an anonymous person who was just playing at that. So whoever actually did it, yeah, anonymous individual So you can imagine how that goes on that front. Tracking that is impossible because it's not even an actual identity. Well, enough people have used it that even if we tried, trust me, I tried. But we
No,
did
I get
also.
you.
Mhm. It's up there with Stacy fake name. It's one of those names that people just keep using. But semantics on that one aside, we did also find some other information with Lore, I believe was the name.
That's right.
No?
Professor
How's Lore doing?
will just fine. Professor will take out a ornate longsword. It has a nice pink ribbon on the hilt. And he lays it on the coffee table, and it looks like a completely normal, inanimate sword. Maybe magical, considering like how nice it is. Like, you reckon it's that nice? It's probably magical. It Professor explains mostly to Minty because the other two kind of know. This is this is the Sword of Infinite Lore. It's a sentient weapon, and it allows me to sometimes cast legend lore from it, and get some, useful information. We casted legend lore after the mirror, seeking information about that from the description we got, the effects, and we got a rhyme,
Oh,
a clue. It's.
also,
Do you mind if I read it?
go for it.
Go for it, yeah.
All right.
By all means.
A prison made to seal, to bind. The witch within lies confined. The doorway, broken, still holds true, but what's within is leaking through. A shard to numb, a shard to blind, misery and magic intertwined. All is done for her one goal, to come together and be made whole.
First of all,
This.
yeah, I'm gonna have Minty roll history real quick. 13. Because I know Prof did say that there is a certain fairy tale from Dearth that sounds like a very similar premise to this whole thing. Do you think a 13 would be enough for her to remember that particular story?
From Darth, probably not.
Yeah.
Just because it's not from this planet, and there are no tunes on Darth, like, at all.
Right. I will say though, because of the way Blissland works, they get kids from all over the place, not just as Satori, but all over, and that includes some kids from Dearth. So that's why I figured it'd be possible that Minty might have heard of the story. So do you think with 13 she
If
might have like a vague recollection of it, like that it's a story of some kind?
I would have
Yeah.
put the DC at 15 at least. Sorry, I don't.
Yeah.
Easy to recall. Okay.
And
if I
we have
may,
our mighty Law Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. If I may ask, you say there's a version of it in the Earth, and
Would
it
the
is exploited.
Metropolis have it?
Yeah, I would ask, would the Metropolis have it,
Ooh,
or
good question.
have
Considering
its own version?
considering what I know of the Metropolis's version, I think it would have been kind of one of those cultural touch points that probably got erased by the system, the the people on high and all that crap to keep
Uh,
people.
what kind of fairy tale is it? What kind of fairy tale is it? Because not
It's old.
necessarily.
It's like old traditional
Oh,
Serbian.
Yeah, the Ice Queen's a
It's the
pretty old
kind
one.
that has
Okay.
Yeah, it's the kind
Yeah,
that has
no,
ice
not.
shards in the eyes and people crying.
Yeah.
It's great.
Ooh,
Mhm.
actually, I wouldn't be so sure about that.
It's a good fairy tale. It's just fucked up. I mean, look at
Mhm.
original
No,
Cinderella.
you say that, but there has been, I say relatively recent, but in one of the cantos, we have gotten a picked up, fairy tale that talks about stars in the sky crying. So, that's why I ask. They do have that, so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's say I put the DC at 20. Do you want to roll history?
Yeah, sure. For fun and enrichment.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
We'll see how we'll see what Ray decides here.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Hey!
28.
28.
All right, that's pretty good. Darth and the Metropolis have similar enough distant histories that you have a version of the story. It's different because you're from a different dimension, but
It's probably a lot more messed up. Yeah.
it probably is.
Mhm.
It's already pretty messed up.
It's brilliant. It's terrible. It's brilliant. It's horrific. It's great.
Oh yeah. But like the we didn't actually get to this part of the conversation in character. We just kind of started talking about it.
Yeah,
But like
really.
Yeah.
Which
Professor,
probably would something like, this feels like. I feel like this premise. It sounds. I
he
can't
would just
remember.
he would just start talking about the um story. And Moria would have been able to recognize like, okay, we might have had something similar in the Metropolis. Like it went
Mhm.
differently and there was no happy ending, but
Yeah. I suppose on my end, I guess I'd like to hear what Prof would say first before I can give you Moria's reaction.
so he would explain the story of the Snow Queen.
Oh.
Let me get back into character. There's this story from somewhere very far from here. Um, it's it's about a Snow Queen, and there's this child, and um, it's either a shard of a mirror or a shard of ice that uh, pierces the child's eye and heart and numbs him to the wonders of the world, all the good in it, uh, blinds him to it and numbs him to it all. And this is remarkably similar. And the Snow Queen was, I think, a sorceress of sorts. This sounds like a witch. This sounds like the witch from this poem that's associated with this mirror. A shard to numb, a shard to blind. That's just absolutely from it. That's very close.
Sounds just like that mirror, yes.
Especially with misery and magic. It's also the
Exactly.
fact that, yeah, and also this story is here in Ainquil. I've heard a version of it as well.
You said
So
it was
there are,
something like the Ice Queen or whatever.
I think I know a version of this tale too. Though in the Metropolis we knew of it as the Snow Queen.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does sound familiar. I can't remember all the details though. Honestly, this is probably one of those stories you don't read to kids that often back home because it's one of the scarier ones. Do you remember how it
Honest
ended
to
though?
goodness, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to try to find the Snow Queen because we literally have that.
Nice. Input more.
Hey!
Like actual legit. Anyways, feel free to carry on.
The what was the question? How did it end? Well, in the story I was familiar with, eventually through many, many trials, a child who was, I think, best friend of the original young boy was able to find him and reach him, and something she did was able to melt the shards of ice that had pierced him. Either her tears melted them, or a kiss did. Regional, there are variants. It might be a lover, it might be a sibling, but that's you get the idea.
So, looks like the common solution was, well, the power of love from the sound of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe a bit of a stretch. I wonder if something similar could maybe cure Milo's, what happened to him.
Maybe. Considering this is Inkwell, I wouldn't doubt that something like that would probably help. On the other hand, it's a mirror. I do not know any people whose tears or kisses would melt a mirror. Not. There's also the fact that I don't think it's actually still on his person. I just think it corrupted him. So it gets a little more complicated when you try to get into the nitty gritty. But yes, I agree. In principle.
Indeed. We did
I will
have.
say,
Oh, sorry, you go.
oh, sorry. I would like to say, like, Mori's been quiet at this point, visibly thinking, and as this talk happens, she is going to note, yes, we do in fact have a version of this story in the metropolis. It's surprisingly similar, honestly.
Well, crossover.
This is kind of a bit of text, so I'll let y'all, I'll just place this down here.
Yeah, no, that's straight up the that's
Yeah,
it.
that be it.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
Yep, that'd be it.
pretty exactly it, yeah.
That's like not a it's not in universe changed at all. Like that's their names. That is just
Yep.
the myth.
Yeah.
Boom.
Like like post from Moria, and it is surprising how some things stay the same, I suppose.
Well, at any rate, the closest Milo would have had to somebody like the best friend, the young girl, would be his cousin, Pam. They were quite close.
Indeed. The
I'm-
baker.
Yes, that's right.
Right, he even had that moment of lucidity before he was too far gone, wanting to protect Pam. Might be a good idea to go and talk to Pam, if we have a chance to. Oh, actually, I've been to Pam's bakery a few times before.
What?
Yeah,
Isn't that
that's
literally
where
where
I got the
you got
pastries
these
from.
pastries from?
The goddamn
Yeah.
pastries.
Oh,
Yeah, I think she'll like just hold up the box to show everybody.
Yeah.
You know, of all ironies, I was actually going to give you the address when I came by today, Professor, because I finally tracked it down, but I feel it's a bit redundant now.
perhaps. Where is it?
Lynn's
Remind me,
just.
is it in
Oh,
Villestown
sorry.
or Toontown?
Toontown. It's
Toontown,
Toontown.
gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's over in
Yeah.
Toontown. Me and some of my friends from the studios go there all the time. But yeah, I could definitely show you guys where it is.
Oh, I. Wow.
Small world. But yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Dodo
Found it.
Studios, maybe I ought to go next because I still have everything I wanted to share with you guys.
Indeed,
Mm.
by all means.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, I don't know a whole lot about Milo's past, but I definitely I've learned a lot about what he's currently been up to. Some of his schemes. I've been involved in at least one of them. Let's see where to begin. I guess
You
it's
call him
well,
Mr. M.
right. I guess that is his current name, unfortunately. Well, Mr. M has certainly caused quite a bit of trouble. Let's see. Well, there was before I came to Inkwell, there was that time he kidnapped Engie, during Animus even.
Engie. You mean the engineer?
Huh.
Yep. Sorry, I'm used to calling him Engie.
Fair enough. Is Animus an important time? Because I
You.
noticed this is at least twice now. Well, I don't mean in general. I mean to M or Milo specifically, or
I
Hmm.
was gonna
whatever's
say, I know you
possessing
know
him.
that it's a holiday.
I know it's important. I celebrate it too. No, I mean kind of
Yeah,
notable to
that
on
is true.
Animus, don't you think?
Because there was the kidnapping a few years back, and then there was the more recently the interview.
Interview. Whoa, what?
Hmm?
Um,
Oh, hello.
Okay,
sorry,
Oh no,
you cut
you're a
out.
Oh,
robot.
oh gosh.
that
Okay,
was
I think it's
completely
normal.
incomprehensible.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Discord. Okay, but she was saying how, yeah, I mean, I guess there was the kidnapping a few years back, and then more recently the interview. I don't know if it's significant things
Mm-hmm.
to him or not, but it certainly seems to keep popping up.
It doesn't seem like he was uh aware that he was going to be interviewed then,
Hmm.
but
Mm.
well, the first one, I mean, it's Animus. It's supposed to be joyful and everything, and if you
Mm-hmm.
ruin Animus, that would bring a lot of misery, don't you think?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Suppose so,
certainly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I
Especially as
felt.
a consulting the journal, it's not related to time of year when he got
Mm-mm.
miseried.
Mm,
No.
and and I believe that's pretty much what his goal for kidnapping Engie was, because well, his movies bring so much joy to everybody that well, getting rid of him would make everybody miserable. Thankfully, though, Engie was fine. I believe Tobias and a few other people, and Larry, they all went and rescued him.
Hmm.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good on
Well,
Tobias.
yeah. He's certainly been on quite a few adventures. I've heard about them during our sessions.
Mm.
Anyways,
Hmm.
speaking of adventures, well, let's see. I know there's that one in Cullerton. Sorry, Cullerton, is that the name of the
Huesburg?
town? Huesburg, that's the
Huesburg.
one. So I was thinking, I think of this thinking of Color Block. That's a different town.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Huesburg.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like to imagine the mental image of just everyone in the moment just going, okay, do we know this place? Did this place pop up in any newspapers or anything? Oh, wait, no, wrong word. Okay.
Actually, I did want to bring up because Tobias told me during that case that he had been stealing color, and there was another one that I'm pretty sure he was involved in because of what attacked us. I guess quick summary of that. A couple of these kids that are friends of me and a few of the other folks at the studio. Um, well, their house got attacked by these. Actually, maybe it's quicker if I just show you. And let me roll another hammer space. 10. Okay, yeah. So yeah, she reaches into her cloak and she pulls out this very colorful wooden caterpillar looking toy. And it kind of
Yeah.
like moves around over on its own power and kind of like drapes itself over her shoulders. Well, this one
By
is
this
not
little
nice to.
thing.
Yeah, this is Mr. Wiggly. Oh, and I should also note, the caterpillar has a little red and white polka dot bow tie on its neck.
Very important
Okay.
detail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, so the kids, their house was every night it was being attacked by constructs like these little guys. This one's a lot nicer though, because Professor Vwild fixed him, so he's not quite so bitey. This one actually, well, he kind of bit me in the neck. I was okay though, and I've been teaching Mr. Wiggly to be a lot nicer now. But
Vwild?
Yeah.
oh right, Professor Woodlake. The kids I mentioned, well, he's pretty much their parent. So, but yeah, it was
Oh.
his house. Oh right, the important part of the story. The constructs they stole this set of blueprints for I think it's called
Yeah.
his DNA machine. It's well, I don't really understand how it works exactly. I just know that's an important machine.
Yeah, that is actually an incredibly important machine, especially with a case that, well, the Huesburg case.
Wait, the what?
I
Yeah,
think
Yes.
we might need a little bit more context there because
right.
to give some context, Minty, the DNA for real kind tends to translate a little bit like a Toon's personal ink, if that
Right.
makes sense.
So like I said, I don't he tried to the professor tried to explain it to me, but I didn't really get the gist of it. So I know it can sort of scan colors, and it can determine well, a tune's DNA from the colors. I can never remember the acronym what the DNA means, but I know it has to do with color. And the fact that he stole those blueprints and that he was stealing color, it definitely seems like there's some kind of connection there. Oop, and
What's
looks
the
like I have been
device?
told to roll a history here.
Ah.
hmm I'm also trying to remember what the DNA in this stands for because I know Lynn knows it because Lynn
Yeah,
has
no,
read
me
literally
too. I
every
know
last
it's
one of
like
Woodley's papers.
I can never remember the
Yeah,
specific acronym for like the tune version of DNA.
same.
Also,
I
wow, that
I,
was a
I get
19
the
on the
feeling.
die for Minty's history roll and a 23 total.
I imagine everyone in this room would know actually, just cause either they're very nosy or they have been told by people.
Definitely. Yeah, so if you see like
Or
in character, we probably remember like what it is.
yeah. Or
Here it is. Okay.
yeah, there you go.
DNA stands
There you
for
go.
Definitive Nomenclature of Animation. It's all the components that make up a single tune through color, light, and sound.
hmm
So yeah, I'd say Minty would. She probably gets like a little light bulb over her head and remembers and reads out this exact definition for everybody.
Mhm.
hmm
Yeah, I imagine at the least the detectives definitely know. Not
hmm
just because they're detectives, but also like Moria's office does have like a side specialization in murder. Definitely not because of one of their members' luck. So
Hmm.
like,
I mean, yeah.
You
Yeah,
yeah, she knows. She
you would need
knows.
to know about the genetic material of most of the people involved.
definitely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
So
I think the lore
like,
is that like the whole DNA thing, like especially because like the machine is so unique. DNA testing for tunes is kind of like a new technology. I know that's how
yeah,
they handled it
hmm
like in the trial case.
okay, yeah,
hmm
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. I mean, they can still like know what it is in theory, but they maybe
Of
don't
course.
actually use it.
Yep, according to law,
Okay.
DNA for tunes has only very recently started being considered for tunes, and such for criminal cases. The technology hasn't spread far and wide just yet. So yeah, pretty much what I said.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
hmm
At
hmm
the very least, so they would know of it.
Yeah, I figure like detectives would probably like be kind of like the circle of people who would hear about this kind of technology because it's relevant to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eh,
The professor, on the other hand, is just learning about it, and he's very interested.
definitely. Well, maybe I should introduce you to the professor sometime, Professor. I feel like you both have a lot to talk about.
Hmm. Perhaps.
Mhm.
Just don't get too deep into the discussions now, or at least not so much you don't forget to eat.
Oh, come on.
I mean, if you get the idea to meet that guy, forget about food for like a day. That guy is incredible. Have you seen the papers that guy has produced?
I have not. I
So
have yet
don't
to.
so
I
don't
will share.
forget to eat and make sure to drink enough as well.
Yes,
Yes,
Because
take
yes.
the big
those
sippy.
This goes to
Knowledge,
you,
though.
and this goes to that Professor Woodlig as well.
Okay.
I definitely
Abby
have.
is noting, out of character, that the trustworthiness of the invention took a tank in its reputation in the public eye after the taffy train incident.
Right,
Shame.
yeah. That
It
was the whole
did.
thing.
It did
Uh,
initially get exploded,
Mhm.
which is a crying shame for the uses it has in so many different things, from medicine to criminology to so many different aspects. I mean,
But
it can help with court cases. It can help.
he
I'm not
has
going
the
to go off on that train.
blueprints.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, well,
Which,
Mr. M and his constructs, they stole a copy of the blueprints. Of course, Woodlig was able to recreate them because it's his machine, and he is kind
Right.
of a
hmm
genius. But let me think. Actually,
not
his
great that
machine
they
made an
have
appearance
a copy,
recently.
though.
Did you guys read the papers about that big trial that happened with the Yakuza and Deltasong Danger?
I
hey,
have
Um,
he's not
heard
dead.
rumors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty surprising.
hmm.
Actually, go and
I
inside on
haven't.
Minty when she
Honestly,
says that, because for reasons.
Yeah.
18 plus 8.
That's a 26 from Lynn. That is a 17 from Moria.
19 from Professor.
And 19 from Professor. Yeah, I think with all those, you can definitely tell there's definitely some complicating feelings there, but also Minty definitely seems to know this Deltasong Danger fella, which is interesting considering he's been gone for so long. And yeah, you can definitely pick up that she definitely seems to know this person.
I mean, considering it looks like he's not dead, so he has been alive the whole time.
Right?
Moria is
Yeah.
just like, Moria at least is of the opinion that the guy's probably been hiding for his life.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have. I'm
Yeah,
going
hopefully
with
he can
she
confirm
doesn't
as
have.
much. Yeah, because she does
Yeah,
know the
like.
details of the trial from probably Woodlig and NG as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
right.
Mhm.
at least with how I'm treating this, because I haven't yet managed to watch the case, I'm treating it as Moria's definitely heard of it. She knows some bits and pieces, but she doesn't know all the details.
Yeah, I'd
So,
say the gist of it is pretty
Mm-hmm.
much that the DNA machine made an appearance, though in that case, Mr. M had kind of reconstructed a bit to make it this messed up looking calliope circus instrument sort of thing, which Woodlig was not very happy about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
understandable, really.
But it was used during the trial to test the DNA of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that definitely proves that that it was in fact Mr. M who stole the blueprints.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is this explained out of
Which
character?
I'd say so, yeah, just for
In
the sake of
character?
simplicity.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think I'd like to say in character, at least to an extent, because we're conveying stuff like the situation of the identifying that it was indeed Mr. M, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
yeah. Like we are all talking now, but we can't just say this is in character
Mm-hmm.
I'd say so,
Yep.
yeah.
discussion. So,
Mhm.
And I mean, if you've got the Yakuza after you, you don't want to get the rainbow treatment, so understandable to go into hiding.
what?
But
mm,
you
Yeah,
don't want to know. As a detective, I know I've witnessed it. You don't want to know.
yeah, and
It's
Mr. M
messed
didn't
up.
know when I asked him what that was, so I figured it's better not to ask.
Yeah, no, don't ask. Don't know. Make sure the lights are on if you do witness anything or hear or read about it. Trust me. I don't like it. And I've seen some messed up shite. Anyway, getting back on topic.
Moria's
We
just gonna
know
casually sip her tea and not say a
yeah.
word.
Lynn makes eye contact with you as she's like gesturing with her good hand in just the I know you know we know you know.
Moria does not say a word. She does not say a word for the horrors that she has witnessed previously. Do not
Mhm,
even worry about it.
Mhm.
mhm.
Professor just seems annoyed that you won't tell him.
Tell you what,
The-
Professor, after
if
this
you're,
is all said and done, I will tell you.
All
You
right.
won't like it, but I'll tell you. Okay, now getting back on track because we
Ooh,
know that the
yeah,
professor's
let's.
work, Woodlig's work, was seen at the at the interview. It was the plagiarized work was there as well. It was on the screen.
Right, that's
Different
true.
images that, indeed. The DNA testing has also been used, was occurring in the Huesburg case in relation. It was identifying people's ink to acquire, or at least testing it after the photos of certain people were taken before they were nabbed, which they're fine. Everyone from that is perfectly fine nowadays. Their color is restoring. No ink was actually acquired. Any ink that was taken that hadn't been already shipped off is now in my possession. It's my ink now. Moving on from that, the
Okay.
DNAs were taken. Profiles were made. There were only copies of them on site at Huesburg. Unfortunately, we did kind of have to destroy the site at the end. The people had already left because they were aware we were there and there was a more pressing threat coming in. So we had to destroy it before anything else happened.
Fair enough. Probably
Yeah.
for the best, really.
Yeah, better to let now let
Indeed.
him have his hands on all that information.
More pressing than the Yakuza?
Yes.
Well, there was that big monster that you guys fought, right?
The
That
big
was-
monster
Did
was
that
related.
case go
that-
down in
that-
the end, anyhow?
The big monster was related to the case. That was Aspen, who mutated. It's again, the idea of it's almost. Did I get any of the goop?
I don't
Cannot
think
recall
so.
at this very second.
I
Indeed,
want to say that I
but
could have sworn the goop like dissipated or something. We might have to check with Obby for that.
yeah, indeed. But
I see all your
Lynn
types,
does
so.
indeed.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
Yep.
Lynn be thorough, and also we were. And she is actually going to say we were. My partner was slightly covered in it. I was a bit preoccupied dealing with some other parts of it, but we all got our shots in. Tobias was absolutely excellent, by the way, Minty. Highest of regards to him. He's fantastic. Anyway, but we did get some aspects of it. It was. It seems to be the same group that is in Mr. M from what we've seen. It all
That-
seems to relate back to the mirror on that front. However, the part that concerns me is like in that interview, how this is going towards making something, how they're taking the inks, this idea of the DNA, it's towards a purpose. I believe we already discussed that previously, Professor, but that's concerning to me for what this witch has planned.
We don't know why he needs help. We. It can be. He does seem to get some. Misery out of creating them and then seeing them get broken. But he keeps making these. He's trying to perfect this humanoid construct. He's using, I guess, Toon ink, and the mirror was found in Aspen, so maybe that was what made her work better than the other attempts.
It can also be, oh, sorry, you go.
Okay. Well, I can see for certain he's been at this for a while because, well, I've met one of his prototypes, so to speak.
No.
Yeah.
What was the name of? Was it Hodgepodge?
Yeah, Hodgepodge. Yeah, and she'll say as much. Yeah. I should probably get to that point. Well, as I mentioned, I know a couple people associated with him. In fact, they're his well, previous warlocks.
Hodgepodge, and there was a little witch-looking Toon.
Tally, I believe.
Yeah, that's the one. I will ask though, since unfortunately her name and face were shown during that interview, which you really shouldn't have, and you can see that like she's actually looking pretty peeved about that whole thing. Like
No, yeah,
legitimately
that's
peeved
fair.
off by this.
That's
Yeah.
fair
Mm-hmm.
of her.
Mhm.
But I will ask that you try not to spread her name around too much, mostly for her sake. She's well, we were both pretty worried about that, especially because well, some of the stuff that Mr. M forced her to do back when she was still his warlock. Well, she's a bit worried that if more people find out about who she
Oh, the
is,
robot.
oh,
Yeah, the robot came
oh
back.
no, internet work.
Keep it quiet because
Oh no, okay,
From
let
what
me
I
get back.
gathered, it's like for her sake, considering, that's a kid who managed to get
Exactly,
out of
and
that.
also Minty was explaining
Mm-hmm.
well, some of the things that Mr. M forced her to do while she was still his warlock, she's worried that if other people find out about that, they might try and get her to do those things for him. I'm pretty sure during the interview it was mentioned the fact that he was having Tally steal talents and that she has that ability.
Yeah.
yes.
So I think with that, can all kind of put together that, like, both Minty and Tally are worried that people would try to force Tally to steal talents again. So,
No, yeah,
I always.
Moria
Sorry, you go.
nudged at that. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
Moria nudged at that, and will note, um, it has already been pointed out that having warlocks might mean getting misery from another source, but something I'm wondering is if they are trying to. This is in relation to that witch, and
Mm-hmm.
M looks to be trying to perfect making a humanoid construct.
mm,
How
Ah,
likely is it that a form, I suppose, or a body for the witch
I
gosh, that does make
is
sense.
being made?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would
hmm.
be bad.
It's potential.
Mm,
She does seem to have a rather good hold of his own body. However, it's still not an ideal form, it seems.
He
mm,
still has his own will, from what we
Hmm.
can tell, even if it's very muted right
mm,
now, so to say.
You need
Right.
a blank slate. It's something that is perfected but doesn't already have a soul in it, a
A
personality.
personality. Exactly. Hmm.
You're making a worst self, and then that's a vessel. Oh god, vessels. But yeah, so
So
there's that
that's
aspect. It's. Do you think that's how this relates to DNA? Finding the most suitable kind of ink, the most suitable form that takes it.
that might be the case, actually, if he's looking for a very specific color to base it off of.
mm,
Needs
in
to
color
be able
or
to hold the specific form of ink, it seems. Needs to not be destroyed. Needs to be able to hold it. But
we don't know.
shouldn't have a soul, so to say.
Right.
And incorporating the real kind aspect into it, that sturdy rigidity, that it stops dip and such from affecting. You're getting the best parts of tunes with the longevity, and we have certain advantages against certain damages and such, but you're getting the real kind aspects. I don't know what the witch was, or I, whatever we're going to call her, witch, ice queen, whatever pick,
We
but
don't know
you're getting.
whether it was a tune or real kind.
That is
Indeed,
true.
and
Mm,
within that, if you get something that's a synthesized version of both, I've seen this on multiple of my cases, you would be surprised how much half kinds are coming up nowadays. But if you
I
can get
wouldn't.
that perfect synthesis, it starts to mesh better. You can get something that works either way and can interact with either. It's a rather fascinating topic. I can look further into the ink side of things. I won't be able to do any proper to certain locations, but I can look into that to try and find what kind of inks would be most viable on that front.
Mm.
Hmm.
just
I've
be
got
sure
something of
to
an ink
keep that
speciality.
Mm.
Mm.
Hmm.
Just make sure to keep that information on the down low. You don't want them figuring out that you're doing research on this already.
I'm very good at covering my tracks. There's a reason why I've got the network. No one knows all
Mm.
the threads,
Hmm.
but I'll do my best.
Hmm. Well, sounds like you've got that covered.
Okay.
There's one other thing, though, I'm kind of thinking of. So he's got the color, but tunes are also made of light and sound. do you think he might need to try and collect that from somewhere? Or in his case, he'd probably
I
try to steal
mean,
it again.
that does seem to be one of his go-tos.
Yeah.
So within
Light,
that, I mean,
well, light, color, and sound. Presumably, M's got colors sorted, but we do know that he's working with others, so
mhm. I
help
I will
cover his
note that
bases potentially.
within DNA, within that entire thing, there is not just the ink of a tune, but the sound. So perhaps that could also potentially match up. It's
Mhm.
for every tune has a different sort of like there are different gods, the soundtrack and such that can hear people's themes.
Mm-hmm.
Within that, you've got every tune has a unique theme that is featured within their DNA. It's the research again is fascinating.
See, I want to bring up the
Not gonna
rhythm, but
lie.
unfortunately, Minty doesn't know about the rhythm. Would Prof have heard
Yeah,
about that from
see,
twins or Moria?
I was,
Professor and
I was,
Moria both know.
yeah, I was
Mhm,
gonna
mhm.
say I'm currently thinking about the the ribbon because of the twins.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm so glad you guys were able to name because I could remember the soundtrack. I couldn't remember the goddamn rhythm. So I will also Lynn will also ramble that one into it. Thank you for saying
Nice.
that word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah,
she would
yeah,
know as
no
well.
worries.
So
Okay.
There are a few places people can find out about people's well, rhythms from. So,
mhm.
Right.
And
That would
again,
be
it might not just be from the people. We do need to keep up other aspects. I mean, theatre potentially. I mean, if from what I understand of narratives, if they keep going back to certain things, if you've got certain protagonists in that narrative, your engineer, the idea of Dodo Studios and a theatre could potentially be a focal point that's got light, that's got sound. I'm not sure that might be inaccurate.
No, it's a good theory. I mean, we've been targeted quite a bit, mostly people trying to assassinate NG, but it wouldn't be. Well, the good news is we have a pretty good security nowadays. So at the very least, we've already been on guard for a while. So if they did want to try and hit us up,
And
it'd be pretty difficult for them. Guess it depends on how determined
I
they
mean
are to
that
steal from us.
yeah, isn't
well,
he the guy who's like he's one of his monikers is the guy who's died 1,000 deaths, which
Yep, that's the one.
eh,
guy lives an interesting life to say the least, from what I've heard.
this is Anquil, bitch. Everything's interesting nowadays. Everyone wants to kill you.
Well, he's nothing but
um,
resilient.
Hey, that's one word for it.
Mhm.
Right.
well, I suppose another thing to note along these lines is you mentioned it's a theater, it's a movie studio, so.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let's see. Well, I think the sound part, there might be specific places where you'd want to take sound from, somewhere that has a lot of it, maybe. The light part, I'm wondering about, though, because, I mean, light's pretty easy to get. I mean, just go out into the sun.
um
You don't think he'd
So
try to block out the sun or something, would you?
I've actually stopped supervillains on that front trying to do that. It's harder than you think,
Hmm.
especially when your death ray has the sun warming up. It's a whole shebackle.
Hmm. Yeah, that is true.
Uh,
Maybe I
So,
should ask Higgs
might
about
be
this. I
worth
wonder if he'd
it.
know about that kind of thing.
do we know that
mhm.
he needs these other aspects? We know he needs ink. He's been taking ink. We have no evidence of him going after these other things. We know that he needs
Indeed,
to. We know that he's studying the DNA, which incorporates these other elements, but we don't know about him going after anything related to sound, anything related to light,
Hmm.
just ink. Maybe he just needs the materials and the magic of this being will make up the rest. I mean, I don't know. He doesn't know either. He's making this up as he goes along. He's figuring things out. He's doing trial and error.
To be
indeed.
fair, from To be fair, if my theory is right and he's trying to make a form, I suppose, or a body for this witch,
Mhm.
Oh, I'm rolling Huesburg.
Oop.
For
Uh,
this witch.
That's a nat
Well,
20.
oh my
dang.
goodness! Nice!
All right, let's have Morski finish their sentence first.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
If they're
But,
making a body for the Switch.
yeah,
Mhm.
to be blunt, that isn't something easy to do, and as it's been said, he is doing this from scratch, so it's pretty obvious he's learning to do this while getting some extra misery on the side.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The
and the
witch
thing
is
is,
Which
incorporated too, so that makes it both easier and harder for him, I'd imagine, because that's a form of life, but clearly it's a form of life that
yeah,
isn't compatible to all things, if what you've told me has happened with Aspen.
and the thing is,
Mhm.
you can't just mash color, light, and sound together and instantly make a tune. There's kind of more, well, other stuff to it. It's more
Mhm.
complicated than that, as far as I'm aware. I mean, I worship a creation deity, and I know not just anybody can create life like that. So he might need more than just color, light, and sound to make whatever he's trying to make.
Indeed. And if you're trying to use more than one ink, there's the risk of precipitation and that sort of thing. It's
Hmm.
certain inks won't match, and certain inks will react poorly with real kind material. Iron gold, for example, don't mess with iron gold.
Yeah, I guess to be blunt, it is not easy to make new life. Let's put it that way.
Hmm. Well, the real kinds find it quite easy, apparently.
Well, I wouldn't say so. The depends on the race, everything else. For humans at least, it takes at least 9 months and is not easy.
Hmm. I remember the birds, the bees, and the inkwell talk. Oh,
Mm.
I'm doing a moment of reading.
Yes,
Do you want to
our
read this
lore
out
giver.
loud for the audience, or
I will do as soon as I've read it.
alrighty?
Hmm. Great.
Oh.
So Lynn does actually just like Lynn has a fun trait of as she's having one conversation, she will be thinking on two separate tracks in her head. And then she does actually just like entirely stop this line of conversation and just thinks for a moment, goes, okay. Now, I'm just gonna reel this back to the Huesburg case just for a second, because
Mhm.
within
Yeah.
that there was a recording that was given. It was part of a way to get into a compartment in the back of Aspen's office,
Mhm.
which had one of her bodies, or one of the cases where her body usually resides and such, as well as across. That was where the crossbow was, Prof.
Ah.
But within that, there was a recording that we used to access it because we had to pull on certain books to do it.
Mm.
Actually, it was a very cool one. Okay, the mechanics of that daring is awesome, but
Mhm.
the exact riddle. If I were capable of emotion, I'd imagine that my responsibilities would cause me a great deal of stress. Da, 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 da. I'm strung across 3 separate projects, each requiring meticulous attention to detail. That part's quite significant, especially. I'm almost thinking, I thought at first it might be 3 bodies, but I'm also
Well,
thinking about 3 separate projects, because what do we know that tunes are made out of? It's, well, light, sound, color. So those 3 separate projects, each requiring meticulous attention, I think it was a very fun play within it. But I also think it might be those 3 projects.
that could very well be the case. And
Mm.
she may have separate bodies taking care of each part of the case, Or else that's a red herring. She only had the one. But
I'd like to assume from what we saw, from especially noting the case itself, that it is basically puppet jumping.
Right. In that case,
Okay.
3 separate projects. We know of the Huesburg one. They stole the DNA for sort of the whole overarching plan.
In fact, proving that further, my partner, Gregory, he has actually seen Aspen after the location where she got destroyed in the Goop Hill.
Oh.
She was encountered in a separate location. That's actually how I know the name Tally. People are looking out for her on that front. You do want to keep an eye out on her, get her guardians aware. People in the ink trade and such, ink trade, talent trade, those sorts of things, that's my area of expertise. I'm the detective of the trades. But yes, Aspen was seen after the fact at those locations further out. Ergo, we know it's part of a jumping procedure on that front.
Okay.
Anyway, carry on.
What was she doing there? This might be related to the other project.
It was
The
entire thing was. It was related to talent. It was a vampirical ring.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was destroyed, very much so. But there was talent and there was ink.
Me out of character, kind of waving at a certain mini campaign that happened.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. In character, Moria's nodding. I know the idea is to keep Tally's name on the down low, but who are her guardians anyways, so that if something happens, we know who to contact?
Well, there's her father, Bob, and okay, I'm blanking on who Bob's partner is.
Ross.
Ross, that's his name. There's Bob and there's Ross. So I'll definitely let them know about all this when I see him next.
That would be a good idea. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking on it a bit further.
You rolled well. You rolled well.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Like I mentioned, Moria's leaning against him earlier. This is still the case.
I'm gonna say Minty misses this because actually no, its passive insight is 21, so she might have noticed this.
Yeah. She realized he's agitated a little bit. That's about it.
Not a fan of vampires, got it.
Moria already knows, so yeah.
Okay, so this is ink trade, talent trade.
I've actually got it. It's so it's gaining more color. So it's highly concentrated samples. It's the best way to get ink and blood is from the people who do it the most. It's they're specialized towards it. I would also like to state that vampires aren't always like this. I know many really good ones. I hope this does not reflect upon them. Okay,
that's fine.
Indeed. So
he puts his hands up like, don't tell me any of their identities because that would be dangerous for both of us.
You got it. So it's that idea of the highly concentrated samples. That's what Aspen was there for. Yes, talents are something that is interrelated with misery, but it's the idea of the concentrated samples, especially with the trading therein. So you can gain it via the methods they were using in Huesburg, which they've probably got in other locations. I will be looking further. I've already been looking further into kidnappings and that sort of stuff for that variety, other train. But they were taking all of the ink from someone in that. This is taking highly concentrated samples that can only be retrieved by these certain people. So it was an incredibly enhanced, viable source in that trade and relation there.
Okay.
So
it's still
furthering that goal.
It is. It's still ink, so that's 2 projects on ink, and not what I was expecting, which was 1 on ink, 1 on sound, 1 on light. But we do still have 2 projects now. Huesburg was destroyed. Not okay. No, Huesburg wasn't destroyed. The
building that was
operation
told
at
in
it
color.
was.
Mm-hmm.
This was also taken down. This
Yes,
vampiric.
the leader got dawned.
Ah,
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
all right.
That would do it.
Okay, but that means there's something else. Either haven't identified or don't know about at all yet.
Could
It's
And-
possible they might be planning something, but they haven't gone through with it yet, so to speak.
So
Hmm.
people just talked over each other. Who said what?
Oh, I was saying, Minty was saying, it's possible they might be planning something, but they haven't started it, so to speak. Like they haven't like they're planning a heist, but they haven't gone through with it yet.
Well, maybe, but it said that she was in 3 separate projects, each requiring meticulous attention to detail. So it would perhaps that the main move of it, if you say if it was like a heist or something, as you say, hasn't been carried out yet. The project has started. If her
The project looks to be ongoing.
yes, if
It's
her
wherever
message
that third body is.
right, it's doing something.
I have a question.
I wonder if there's
At
a way to
this-
track that. Like,
At this gathering of vampires, was her body that was there destroyed, or because you were only able to retrieve one of the mirror shards from one of her bodies, right?
yes, that was the one that we completely obliterated in Huesburg. The one in, well, over the waters. No, it wasn't over the waters. It was almost over the waters because if it, yeah, a nasty situation. It was in Einquill. So she was still.
You said she was
She's still
spotted.
around.
Okay.
Yes, she was spotted. She wasn't directly intervened with.
Ah.
So
that body is still alive then, very likely.
yeah, it was a pick up and leave situation rather than a engage with people situation. A courier sort of deal. I mean, if you're going to have someone do it, that's the best person to do it. You know they're reliable.
Right. So that means that there's still at least 2 more bodies still in play, assuming he hasn't made another one for her, though it might be limited depending on how many of those mirror shards he has to spare.
Indeed, especially if it's towards a purpose.
2 bodies and at least 1 other project.
I guess the question is, well, I guess my question is, where else have we seen M? We know we've seen M around the Yakuza, with what you've been saying here.
Well, I'm not sure
Anywhere
if it's
else?
technically the Yakuza anymore, or at least not the ones working for the Jester and Mr. M, because, well, I don't know if you guys heard about this part of the trial, but, there was a bit of mass brainwashing. Apparently the Jester stole half the Yakuza and went off to who knows where, and the rest of them, who are actually the Yakuza, I think they might have revived their previous leader, and now he's in charge again? Something along those lines.
Oh, that's strange.
Yeah.
In any case, they do Mr. M are still working together.
Which,
sounds like
well,
it. Yeah,
it
Minty said he
means
escaped along with them
something
when
if we
he
don't
took
know
everyone
it.
away. So.
It's good information.
Indeed, indeed. All right.
Do you think we need a different name for this second group now? I mean, if they're not Yakuza, would that make them the Hafia or something?
Oh goodness.
Absolutely not.
Know. Like, I don't know what's a good mashup of Jester and M.
What's a ship name?
terrible.
I
No.
think they have
honestly,
one.
honestly, I'm going to let those chuckle fucks name themselves, and then we're just going to have to deal with the consequences of that.
We
Mhm.
could
Or you can
just
put
call
it to a
them the
vote at
Chuckle
the Dota
Fucks.
Studios. Oh
We
God,
could
what have I
just
done?
call them the Chuckle Fucks.
I don't
All
know if I
right.
want to call them that.
After. Apologies,
The,
Minty.
the censorship.
Yeah.
Oh, bless you. You've got censorship. Bless
Well,
you.
well, I do work with kids back home, so we don't really want to swear around them.
The
A
Chuckle
little swearing never
Pets.
did a child bad.
Fair enough. We just,
You realise
especially if you have like
you've
little
just
little
turned that
kids.
into the
Yeah. I mean, it's not so
you've
bad with
just
the
said
older
that
kids.
toon equivalent of the F word. You realise you've just dropped the toon F. That doesn't make it any better. You've just translated it.
Well, can it be said?
Minty, say chuckle peck.
I'd rather not. I mean, I'm more used to swearing
Okay.
nowadays since I've been in NyQuil, especially because of how much Indy tends to swear. I just don't like to do it myself, unless I,
No, yeah,
have
that's
a good reason to.
understandable.
Yeah.
All
No,
right.
yeah,
Each their
that's
own.
fair. I'm just bullying Kalin a bit. Don't worry.
Maybe something
Aye.
more like chuckleheads. Would that work? Chuckleheads.
Eh,
That'll work.
Mm,
well, at any rate, we
Mhm.
don't know what they're doing. They
Mhm.
have forces. That's important.
they have
Mhm.
forces and they have resources.
Well, the good
Correct.
news is
And
And connection.
they're working with half of what they had before since it got split in two. So maybe it'll make it a little
I
harder for them
mean,
to do whatever they're doing.
Maybe.
if they've hand-picked people, you kind of drop the dead weight.
Oh, yeah, that's
Mm,
true. Now they've got all the really competent ones.
mm.
Aye, and if they're brainwashed, then that means you're moving. I saw some of those people get brainwashed when we were in Huesburg, and they went from wanting to desert or wanting to escape to full compliance. That was perfect possession. That was being able to talk through someone. That was
Ugh. Yeah, you
very
feel like a
unpleasant to
full body
witness.
shudder at that. Ugh, yeah, that
Hmm.
sounds a lot like what he did to Tally back when he forced her into the pact. Actually, that's something else I should mention. Tally told me that there's sort of a gap in her memory between before she was in the pact and when she was already in the pact. She doesn't actually remember the part where she made the pact with him, so he might
Hmm.
have erased her memory or something. The fact that he can do
Mm.
something like that
Well,
is especially scary.
Uh,
well,
There were.
there is magic for that, and
Mm.
there is the you said she doesn't remember the making of the pact itself, right? Is the pact being made with M then? Do
Yes,
you
that's
know
what
that
happened.
explicitly?
Yeah, no, it was definitely with him. Thing was though, I don't
Okay.
think she ever saw him in person, or at least not for most of it. But she did have, well, she of course did have a fear of puppet strings and mannequins for a while. So he might have, maybe she kind of saw flashes of him in her mind or something along those
Or
lines.
perhaps in order to make the pact, he had to do it in person,
That's
and
true. Yeah.
those memories were removed. Um, and but she still had traces, which caused those fears, perhaps.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's probably what
But
happened. She probably met him, made the pact, and then he erased her memory right after.
mhm. That said,
Yep.
that's just a theory, and I don't know if it's important. Um,
I The reason I'm asking is because clearly there seems to be something more with this witch. How much
Mhm.
can the witch reach through M to make a pact?
That's
oh,
true.
quite a lot. He was just a normal person. Now he's able to make warlock pacts. That's
Yeah,
not normal.
not everyone can do that. You have to be
That's
pretty gosh darn powerful to do something like that.
Very.
You'd have to be
Yeah,
a perfect thrall.
What?
that's why I'm asking. Is it really? You
Hmm.
said it was definitely M, but I'm wondering if it's the witch reaching through M to make that pact.
That might be the case if she was just
Exactly.
using him as a vessel or a proxy. Maybe Tally technically made the pact with the witch instead.
I don't
I've
know.
seen this happen before, though.
Yeah.
I've seen a being have a thrall, and that thrall be able to make a pact with someone. This
Ah.
is that direct link through. Mr. M is powerful enough to make such pacts because of that possession, because of that through flow. I'd also like to say it might not have been meeting in person, as in a person to make a pact. It might have been a doll literally lying on the ground. If this was preying on a child, so we might also need to be aware of not picking up any dolls or toys we see in front of us, no matter how interesting or lost child feeling we're feeling. No returning lost property.
That's a good point.
He were all the things that he attacked you with toy-like? Your Mr. Wiggles is...
Yeah. Yes, they were. They were all toy-like constructs. There was the caterpillars. There were these little toy soldiers, and there were these little moles that could dig under the house.
Ah.
Yeah.
Did they seem mechanical or doll-like?
Well, you can take a look for yourself. I think she'll have Mr. Wiggly slither off of her shoulders and hold him out if anyone wants to investigate him.
No, I mean the moles themselves.
I believe
They were
the
just
moles.
described as moles.
Yeah, well, they were all toys. She would have confirmed they're all toys. They're like little
Okay, in
toy. I think
that
they're like wooden
case,
moles that had like little drill hands on their. Or actually, no, I think they had little claws.
yeah, okay, no, Moria wanted to confirm that since, well, there does seem to be something of a theming.
Yeah, they're all toys. So
I want you to know
Is
this is the first. Oh, sorry, you go. You go
oh,
first.
sorry, just like Moria would say outside, well, there does seem to be something of a theming.
Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, Moria's wondering, is the theming there because the guy wants it, or is it a little bit because, Toon tropes?
well, out of
Mm-hmm.
character, Prof would know that Milo made like little toys like that back in the day.
Yes. He's not
Yeah.
saying it yet.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah. It's Lynn was going to very subtly side eye the professor in the hey Tinkerton. Like I do mean incredibly subtly. I gesture at Lynn's deception modifier. I would also like to note, hilariously, this is the first time Lynn's ever given me a visceral reaction of when someone goes, "Who wants to investigate something?" holds up the caterpillar. Her in my head, I don't.
I
Professor, on the other hand, will reach for it and take a look.
Yeah. I think I know one thing would probably be the fact that like because during the fight, Mr. Wiggly was able to not quite open his mouth, but like it was more like cracking the wood open to make this like jagged mouth. But that would have been like all repaired and stuff, so now we can't
terrifying, thank
yeah
you.
break his face open anymore. So at least he can't do that
Okay.
now.
Terrifying, thank you.
But there would probably be like markings where that happened.
Oh, definitely. I think like because I'm pretty sure like with repairing wood, there's probably ways to like smooth it over and like fill in the cracks. I'm sure if Prof looks closely enough, he can probably see like the jagged sort of crack where the mouth was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like just a faint
Yeah.
kind of mark of it.
Hmm. Well, I guess I'll note that Moria would have said out loud. Well, I guess I'm wondering then, is the theming something that he is doing on purpose, or it's in part because of tropes? Because
It's
I
not
think Moria's been in Unquill enough to like know that about tunes.
Hmm.
it's not
Callback.
tropes. It's
Oh,
not exactly. He's a toon now. He didn't used to be. He's a toon now
Mhm.
because the misery he was feeding off of was from toons. Tinkerton is full
ah,
of toons. And
You are what you eat.
yes.
Mhm.
And
hmm.
well, it's made of toons that look like toys, that look like that look like toys that would normally, in a real kind form, be inanimate. Sort of, honestly, kind of in a. Some of them a little more like you, Minty. You're sort of plush styled,
Like Eve's.
like Eve's. It's like that, and he did used to make well, perhaps I should show you. He puts the the worm down on the coffee table, and brings out a small sort of hand-sized little copper puppy
Oh,
Oh,
that moves fairly realistically once he winds it up. This is canine. This is something he made uh, a a long time ago.
Aw.
that's cute.
that's a good puppa.
Aw.
That is a
And you
picking
didn't
good puppa.
introduce me already? For shame, prof.
Well,
Just for fun.
For
I think
shame, Space Picnic. For shame.
Just for that, I think Mr. Wiggly kind of like curiously looks at the puppy and like maybe like does like a gentle head bonk or something.
mhm. Yeah, the puppy like sniffs and does like a play bow.
Aw. I think Mr. Wiggly does the
Oh
same.
my god.
Just wiggles his little wormy body.
So he has a lot of experience with mechanical toy styled
Mm-hmm.
constructs. So I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's
Mm-hmm.
what he's good at. That's what his artifacting tended to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
He's just making more violent toys nowadays, it sounds like.
Yes.
Hmm.
Indeed.
Still his knowledge, though, in one form or another.
Right. This
It's a
wasn't from the witch. This is from him.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Mm.
In
This
that
is
sense,
a perversion, a corruption of that.
in
Right.
that sense, maybe it's proof that there's still a little bit of him in there deep down somewhere. I'd like to
Aye.
think that at least that there's something we could still maybe save from the witch's influence.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
The if the bit of mirror that struck him did something similar to what the piece that your partner holds now, it
Mm-hmm.
that one shows you your worst self and possibly and sometimes you said sort of makes that vision of the worst self sort of take over a person for a while. This,
Indeed.
if this did something like that, then it's taking from Milo. It didn't erase him completely, but it took all of his worst qualities and amplified them, and took his best qualities and, well, either twisted them for evil
Mm-hmm.
purposes. I mean, he's still smart, but that's not exactly a moral feeling. It's just a fact of being
Who he
intelligent.
is.
It's where you point it, it's where you hone it.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly, yeah.
a chisel can be used for harm or it can be used to create.
Yes.
Well,
Intelligence
tool
is
like
like
any
that.
other.
Exactly. We've thought about it in the context of those mirrors at the auction. There were ones that showed fear and such. Let me see. And she does like take back the journal for a second just to see if she can like leaf through on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
They weren't at the auction, but he had researched magic mirrors in general. And yes, there were ones that showed your worst fears, there were ones that trapped beings, there were ones that
possible futures, those sorts of things.
Yes.
Another
And
makes your reflection a living being.
oof,
Mm.
It almost seems like a conglomerate of those points, doesn't it? What's happened?
You're not wrong. It's turned Milo into his what could be his worst self, with the added influence of this external force of the witch.
Yes.
I've also thought about it as the idea of, a prison. It's Milo A has been trapped within himself, but also this idea of the mirror. This is a mirror of the witch. Of that, I mean, how else do you get a full-on embed of something that causes this? She's trapped.
In
So
the
this
mirror.
is part of so this is part of using those shards to convey through. This is why, well, potentially why those are. Sorry, my brain
No,
goes sometimes.
No, it's all right.
it's
Indeed,
okay. I do get what you're trying to
yeah.
say, though, that she's probably the original being trapped in that mirror.
There you go.
Right.
And maybe it's her influence that's making the shards of the mirror do what they're doing.
Oh, it
There you
is.
go.
Oh, very yes.
Certainly. She still remains trapped, which, thank goodness, because it did break. But it let her reach into out of her confinement.
This is
What?
likely
Wait.
this is likely the well, this is likely that little bit within that's leaking through, right? If we're looking at that.
Mm-hmm. It's her magic.
Here's a
It's her
question.
influence. Yes.
The third project. I can't remember whether we know. I mean, Pam and Milo got out of Dodge very quickly. Tootsie handled stuff there.
Mm.
What happened to the rest of the shards? Because we know he's got his one, or hypothetically, if it's still in him, because we know that he said that it felt like there was something still in him even after they dealt with the eye.
Well, and
Aspen had a part in her. The rest of the mirror, what if, and I might be going down a wrong rabbit hill here, but what if that's the third task? Finding the
Find
rest
the
of the
rest
mirror.
of the mirror.
perhaps it sounded like he might have had a few pieces because he was sent to acquire the mirror, and I don't know. It's not said exactly that he left with only the one piece. He could have had several, but we have no way of knowing for certain. We know he had one, and just knowing somebody like him, I don't think he would have discarded it. He would have kept it when he removed his eye.
Indeed, we know in his exact notes, we didn't even get the mirror in one piece. The damn thing broke in the crossfire. The shards flew everywhere. We lost most of it.
Most of it. That means he has some.
Indeed.
It also means that pieces are still out there.
Correct. That could be the other project.
You might be searching for the
I
rest of
mean,
it.
And
if you got it all in one piece, maybe you can get someone back through. I mean, if you have the pieces in place and then you can get someone back, that would be a good way of merging into a vessel.
possibly. Alternative, the mirror itself could provide the well, perhaps in an odd way, other components to a tune. He has the ink. Mirrors reflect light.
Mm-hmm.
That
Of light, but it's certain.
For
and
all we
that
know,
is
they
the
gotta
fact
read
that
the
and we do know that he is currently made to hold some.
I mean, sound could be anything. It could even we got lore if from lore.
Mm,
Hi lore. And she does actually like look at the sword, just like you're sentient. I'm going to.
Give the
So
sword a
they're
pat.
different. She's not going to give the sword people if she's in a bit too much pain.
the
But
professor just sort of amused grin, like, "Do you want?"
Moria is
yes,
definitely
I
leaning
do.
over
Lore's
in
fucking
curiosity.
fantastic.
All right, professor's just going to hold the hilt out near, so she doesn't have to move. Just
Yeah.
he's going to just basically hold the blade and maneuver the hilt across the table to Lynn.
Lynn reaches
Nice.
back because hi, this was a nice one. This could be friend. She likes Lore. Lore was good. And so she does just take the hilt. Just hi
Laura's
Lore,
gonna
wonderful to
hate
see you
her
again.
lying, though.
Oh.
Oh well, maybe.
Lord sniffs
As
out
it
the
is,
deception water and is like, nope.
she hasn't lied about anything recently,
No,
outright.
she hasn't.
No,
Well, she's
but
just lied about how fine she is about the brainwashing situation, because I
yeah,
see
but she
that
didn't.
14.
Yeah, but that's a
She didn't
deception.
say anything.
Yeah, she didn't
Yeah.
tell a lie. He, yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, but yeah, absolutely a very enthusiastic, like, "Hello, Lynn Stagehand. Good to meet you again."
Oh, I love you. And yes, that is said out loud.
Hello? Nice!
I'm also extremely curious about where this is going.
I honestly just wanted to say you are having a nice day. You are very awesome. And thank you for taking care of the professor. You are doing amazing.
Oh,
Oh, fantastic. We treasure you.
oh, thank you.
All right, I'm going to let you get back. You're doing amazing, sweetie. Just gonna like give another pat, and she's just like, you've just made her so content.
Aw. Bless.
Uh,
Also, please know that Moria is on a site to Prof going, so when are you gonna introduce us properly? She wants to meet Lord too.
I've been
You
busy. Listen, just fine. If you want to talk to him, he's right here.
Yeah, Moria is giving Prof a look like, okay, introduce us then.
Just passing around the sword and saying hi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, if the store doesn't have an issue, Moria's gonna say hi real quick.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. You get a very similar enthusiastic greeting. "Hello, Moria. I've heard so much about you."
Only good things, I hope. It's a pleasure to meet you properly.
uh, yeah.
Oh,
God,
but yeah,
we
yes.
we got the softs in this. We got the softs in this.
But okay, I guess. Better get back on track. Better get back on track.
Mhm.
After everyone says hi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um.
Hmm.
Yeah. Was there anything else we needed to cover? I think out of character, like, if there are things we have forgotten to share with each other's characters that our characters would share, about the various things that they know, we can just say that they know them out of
Yeah.
character because they
Exactly.
discussed
Yeah.
them.
We can say
Yeah. No,
what we
even
do.
if we, the players, don't remember, our characters at least would, so we can always just retcon it in later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Say,
we
no, they
do
said
is we
this.
fade out. We
Uh,
fade out while they're still talking, and then anything we forget is just added in postscript.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I did have one
Exactly.
other thing I wanted to bring up.
Oh,
Oh.
I think Minty will chime in. About something that was mentioned earlier, though, the fact that Mr. M became a Toon when he was previously a real kind construct. I might, I might have a theory about that. Cause
Oh.
there was the other warlock I haven't talked much about, Hodgepodge. I did get a little bit of
Yeah.
information from it after we talked, which is a whole nother story in of itself. And can I do a bit here? Cause I've been wanting to canonize this for a while.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. So we get a brief flashback to Dodo Studios where they have like one of the side rooms which the Dumb Ideas Squad, which I know it consists of it's NG, Bob, I want to say was it Rowan and Uni's detective character who I always blank on the name.
Oh my goodness, Mr. Crow?
No.
No, it's a different name.
Um,
Oh god, I'm literally in the
Oh.
game with this guy like and I have to
Beckett.
find the
Beckett.
names.
Oh,
Beckett.
It's
Beckett.
NG Bob Charlie Beckett.
Right. Yeah. So those four. So yeah, so we see them, and we see Hodgepodge in this kind of like impromptu interrogation room that they've set up in like one of the side rooms of the studio. I think there's probably like a brief montage of them showing like all the different methods they tried to use to get Hodgepodge to share information, just not working at all. They tried bribing it, they tried threatening it, and just they're completely apathetic the whole time. And then we see Minty wandering up to the gang to ask them how things are going and hearing how badly it's going. And she thinks for a moment and she says, I want to try something. Just give me a few minutes with them. And we see her go in, and it's quiet for a little while. And then we hear like some noise behind the door, and NG bursts through, trying to see like what the heck's going on. And we see Hodgepodge hugging Minty and sobbing into her shoulder, while she just like pats its back and is like, there, it's okay, let it out.
Oh my god.
the truly good cop, it's like that good cop, bad cop.
Minty
Whatever
cop.
Minty is, it's like even better. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So literally
Simple.
what
It's
she
not a
did was
cop. It's a
just like
therapist.
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much just ask it like how are you doing? How are you feeling? And it only took a few minutes of that to just get them to break down and cry. Because yeah, Hodgepodge was not really doing so well. There was a reason why they were so apathetic is because of the way Mr. M made them was basically they had no hang on, let me figure the exact words. Basically they had like no drive, no will to do stuff. They were pretty much just like following orders, but that's why they were so apathetic. But
Ah.
yeah, but speaking of their creation though, Minty would explain that some of the info she managed to get out of Hodgepodge was that the way they were created was based on like information that Mr. M got from the Jester. So what Minty's theory is that the Jester might also be behind M becoming a Toon somehow, like with whatever like knowledge the Jester seems to have regarding like being able to make tunes like this.
Ah.
Mm.
So yeah, that's her theory.
Hmm.
Maybe if it was intentional.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That is really funny.
It's a good one.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I've been wanting to use that for a while. I've been wanting an excuse to canonize
Mhm.
that, and we
Mhm.
finally have it.
We finally found one.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
what you will also explain, like, just to wrap that up, is that Hodgepodge is currently at like they're currently in jail because they did technically break into the studio and try to assault the people in there.
Right.
But Hodgepodge is like she is having therapy sessions with Hodgepodge, and they're trying to get out on good behavior, like by working on this.
Hmm.
The good news is that they have gradually like started to kind of find out, like, things that they like and sort of have a little bit more will. So they've been working on that. So the good news is Hodgepodge is doing a lot
Honestly,
better in that respect.
yeah, it sounds like Hodgepodge Loki has really bad depression.
Oh,
So
absolutely. No, they definitely did. And
yeah,
Are you
Minty snapped
kidding?
them like almost
Misery
Yeah.
immediately,
made them.
and that's why she was
yeah,
able to get them to open up to her so quickly.
yeah. So good that they are getting help there. That's very good.
Hmm.
Misery made that poor bastard. Of course they've got depression.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. I'm probably the only reason Aspen doesn't have it is due to the whole lack of emotions thing. Question mark. So
She's numb.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, she needs to
Okay.
learn about that, or else I would think that maybe I might have a chance of getting his third warlock to open up to me. I mean, rule of threes, right? But doesn't sound like it'd be as easy with Aspen.
Well, won't know until we try, right?
Yep. Yeah,
We'll try
honestly.
and prevent the goop fire kindling from happening, and then you can have a crack at her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've certainly tried to do my best. Honestly, I'm just glad I was
Alright.
able to help the other two out. And, well, I hope I can do the same for, Milo, if we ever get through to him too. But I want to believe we
Yeah.
can. I think there's a chance that we might be able to do it, given what we all know now.
We
This is
certainly have
12.
more information. I'm sure we'll get him out too.
Yeah,
One way or another, he'll be free.
yeah. We just gotta stop what he's doing first, but after that, hopefully we can get him the help he
Mm-hmm.
needs.
Indeed.
Mm.
Alright.
Separate him from what and very likely have to deal with the mess that the witches.
I mean, trying to remove something in this circumstance is going to be difficult.
Mhm.
A shad, it's the goop is full. But if we can sever the connection, that could give a fighting chance. Or of course, finding a way to shunt her fully back in. But at the same time, that means you've got to have the intact mirror, which again is going to be something of use to see if we can locate any more of that. But at the same time,
Mm,
too many threads over too much distance.
mm. Well, if we have the
Well,
Okay,
one shard,
you
as
we
go.
can at
is,
least use
this
magic
will
to shut
give
down the
us.
rest of it, potentially.
Okay, two of you talked at once.
Okay, I'll
One of you.
Yeah.
go.
Kit, could you say that again and then Morski?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go. Well, there are spells to track down items, so if we have one piece of the mirror, we might be able to track down other shards, potentially. Assuming it doesn't,
I mean, it's
ping as just a mirror shard. Otherwise, we'd just be finding
there's
every mirror in
also
the area.
indeed there's also the matter of distance on those sorts of things. I'd also like my partner to keep it in the hammer space void as it is, as safe as possible, because if that's something that can be done, then the person who has the majority might try to use that to get his, and I don't want my partner going through that shite.
If
None
you
of this plot hole.
Understandable, but even
Mhm.
if that does give us, well, it might give us a lot to do, but it's still something that can be worked on steadily. There
Indeed.
are threads to follow here, so.
Well, at least there's more of a plan now. So, I
Aye.
Mm,
guess I guess going forward, we got to figure out where he's gonna strike next, or what his plans are exactly. And talking to Pam might be a good idea too. I could definitely do the latter. Honestly, Pam might need it, considering we're definitely gonna be talking about some stuff that's well, pretty rough to say the least.
Aye.
Pam should be
It's
told anyways, considering she's his family member.
Of course.
indeed.
Yeah.
Professor, in the meantime, has absolutely tried one of the pastries from the box,
Aww.
and noting she's improved.
Aww.
Well, it has been a little while, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Only 30 years.
Mm.
Mm.
Well, plenty of time to improve. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess going forward, we got to figure out what
You should say hi to her too.
I will.
We could go together if you like to talk to her. I'm sure she probably missed you too, if you haven't seen her in that long.
Perhaps.
I'll keep on keeping an eye out then. We can continue contacting each other as usual, Lynn.
Aye.
Minty, what's the best way to contact you?
I'd say through the studio, probably. That's how I called you up the last time.
I think she'll probably, if she hasn't already, she'll give like a number to call the studio with.
Yeah,
Mhm,
probably
mhm.
also just like Moria's gonna like also go over with, making sure the studio knows of all of them,
Oh,
so
absolutely
they
not. I
don't
think
freak
Minty
out
probably
at
would have like
getting
taken a
a
few
phone
notes
call.
like to pass this all along to her friends. Actually, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I put sending on Minty. Let me double check because she could just use sending
Mhm.
to
Oh,
talk
hell
to
yeah.
him.
Hey.
I am going to learn that spell eventually.
Mhm.
Leave hands or learn how to cast.
It's
It's
definitely.
you go on oatmeal.
Oh, he just said it's definitely useful.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
I
It's
desire
not
it.
so. It's not something I can cast to little magic, but it's not too hard a spell to learn from what I know.
Mm-hmm.
There are also sending stones if we want to get one of those. That's another possibility.
Do you have a plot device by any chance?
Plot device.
I
I've
have a
got plenty of
landline.
those.
Actually, I think Minty probably like. Let me do another hammer space roll. 'Cause if there were ever a time, okay, that's an
This
8.
is
Yeah, yeah. This would
this
probably be
is
at the
how
moment.
Minty gets a plot
Yeah,
device.
yeah. I know we do have like a semi non-canon little in character chat we've done like with some of the Dodo Studios people a few times, but honestly, like for her to like canonically get a pull-out device, this would be the perfect time. So yeah, she reaches into
Yeah.
her into her cloak, and she does need pull out a plot device.
Ooh, neat.
There you have it. Let's trade numbers real quick. So
Yeah.
this will be one way we can contact each other.
Hmm.
You know all of the toon bullshittery? Yeah, you know what? This might as well happen.
Well, we already got each other's numbers, Lynn, so we're fine there.
Aye. I'll work on the ink front as far as I can, and if anything crosses any of my informant's ways about the mirror or such, or any other activity with the Yakuza or the Chuckleheads or any other those sorts of things, I'll pass it your way. I
Yeah.
might not be able to intervene myself nowadays with the plots I'm in, but I'll pass on what I can, and if I can get involved, I will.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll try to keep an ear to the ground too around the studio. Even though I don't get involved in a lot of adventures, I certainly hear a whole lot about them. So I'll pass on whatever I can.
Indeed, as long as it doesn't,
Sounds good.
violate the therapy confidentiality. I know about
Oh, of
those.
course, absolutely. No, no, I wouldn't. I
Indeed,
wouldn't share anything like that. I always talk to my patients to make sure that they're okay with this. I had a long conversation with Tobias, making sure I could pass along all of what I've said.
indeed.
That's good.
Yeah.
Right.
I think then that gives us a off. Is there anything you wish to add here?
I don't think so. Um, he might, um, uh, he, he might try to talk to me at some point. I'm not an artificer anymore, but I have knowledge of, certain advanced mechanics. I mean, I basically told him how to make a um, a hovercraft. So if you come across a hovercraft, it's very possible that's his work. Like I said, I'm not an artificer anymore, but I did used to be. Yeah, so
Good to know.
Is there anything we can do to help you feel safer in these times? I know there are emergency beacons, those sorts of things. If anything were to happen, that you would able to break it or push it, and we would be alerted, so we could at least get someone out to you sooner.
I don't I don't know that I have anything like that. No.
Take one of my business cards.
Moria will also just casually note, well, I can say at least so long I know Prof is in the area, we do just hang out. Is to say, like, Moria voice, he is my friend. If he gets kidnapped, we will be dragging him back home safe.
But I will also say, dead seriously, Lynn does just like say, take my business card, and then goes into her pocket and pulls one out. And she's being surprisingly serious about this.
Well, what does it do?
Okay. If you tear it, I will know. So if anything happens to you, destroy it.
I see. All right.
Okay. Thank you. And take care, all right? And I know you already will, especially with everything we've got going on, but I like having you around, Space Picnic. I want to keep messing with you. I want to go in more elevation.
Sure, that's fine. Don't call me that.
She just kind of looks, and it's just like the knife cat in jest. If it was actively something that distressed him, she'll stop at the same time.
Well, that's the thing. You have a high enough insight that you see that that does actually bother him.
Okay, she's going to stop.
Yeah. I can say off recording why. But yeah.
Indeed, she will stop completely now. And you can actually see the sincerity in her face at that.
Well, I think with that sort of sorted, I think that's everything.
I think so.
Yeah, I do just want to say, so at the end, when Minty heads off, does this mean Prof is is being told by Lid and Moria what the rainbow method is?
Yes.
Yep.
She's going to unseen servant to make sure all the lights are on.
Nice.
You can't just ask Moria for that, this is literally her office.
I know, but also you just do it for the bit. But yes, they will absolutely be informed of the full rainbow method and all its fucked upness.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. But I guess with that, we all set?
Yeah, I think that'll do it for us.
Yeah.
Indeed. The crossover has been completed.
We did it,
Dun
guys.
dun dun.
Woo! All right.
A big thank you to Avi for being here and being our lore holder,
Shout out to our
and
lore
to
master.
thank you for listening, and for everyone who listens in the future, you two are awesome. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.